Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals.com. I'm back with my good friend Dave Warren. We're talking all about breeding the freshwater angelfish. And in this episode, we're going to talk about a really important part of the process, and that is selecting the right fish to breed. So the first question, it's an important one, it's a common one. The first question is, are some angels easier to breed than others?
Absolutely. The easiest to breed would probably be the zebra, which are silver with black stripes. They're the closest to the altons, the wild ones that are in the Amazon. Genetically, they're not as far away. They breed relatively easily. Then when you start to get into the recessive genes that gives you the blacks and the kois, you know, all the other colored fish, they're going to, because they are recessive, they're going to be more prone to sickness, disease. They're not going to be as strong. So basically, the more valuable the fish is, the more difficult it is to breed, thus the value.
That's why they're more valuable.
So if you're just getting started, you just want to experiment, you know, maybe some marbles, maybe some zebras. You could even get by with a black or a dark angel, but you start getting into double blacks, black lace, black veil, then it gets a little bit more difficult.
Well, then the next question is going to be the biggest one. It's the Mac Daddy of all questions when it comes to breeding angels, and that is, how do you get a breeding pair? Now, Lisa and I have dabbled in breeding angels in the past. We tried to breed some of the difficult ones with not much success. That's why we had to give them to him. But what we found was probably the most common practice, which was putting 6 or 8 of them together, whether they be larger or smaller, growing them up and letting them make the decision of who they're going to pair off with. But are there other ways of getting a breeding pair, maybe faster or something like that?
Well, the best way is, as you stated, to get 8 or 10, put them in a tank, whether you get them small or whether you buy larger ones. Let them select, because they will breed for life. You can force the situation. You can, if you can determine a male and a female, you can put them in the tank. They will spawn, but they will not stay together. You know, they could stay together 3 or 4 or 5 spawnings. They might only spawn once. They will eventually break apart. Or the last is purchase a established breeding pair,
which you're going to pay good money for. If you're going to buy 6 or 8 of them, or 8 to 10 larger ones, you're going to pay a lot of money for that. Most people are going to be limited in funds. We all are. And so they're going to want to do this the cheapest way possible. And the cheapest way possible is to buy them small, nickel quarter size. Probably quarter size would be best, because you don't want to wait a year for these things to be ready to breed, which that's what we're going to talk about next. But buying them small, let them make the decision. If they come up naturally with a pair, they're going to be a pair for life, or they should be at least, and you're not going to be prearranging a marriage. So I kind of answered my question already, but I wanted to get your professional opinion. We're skipping a question here. If you grow them, if you buy them, let's say nickel size, and when we talk about nickel size, we're talking about the body, not the whole fish with the fins and everything else. We're talking about a nickel size body. How long should it take approximately for them to be old enough to start breeding and pairing off and all that?
Well, probably a angelfish scientist could give you an exact answer, but from my experience,
wait, I thought that's what you were.
But from my experience, it's you know, when will a child go through puberty? It's kind of that. It depends on the fish. The pair behind us were almost 2 years old before they started.
Wow.
I've had others that have paired off at 9 months. I don't know that I've had any faster than that, but you know, it's just really up to the fish how fast it grows and matures. But they will pair off, you know, probably 6 to 9 months. You can have a good pair if they're fed properly.
6 to 9 months from the time you bought them, or at 6 or 9 months?
No,
old?
from the time I bought them, being let's say nickel to quarter size, in that range. You know, now if you run to one of the P stores on Tuesday when they get their fish in and their angelfish are dime size, you got a long way. You got a long way, because it's going to take a while to get them up to just to nickel size, where you can start telling, you know, male female if you're really good. But you know, you got to be patient. If you want to start tomorrow, then you need to come across somebody like myself, you know, that's been in the hobby for a while.
Go on aquabid.
Right, or aquabid. Somebody that's got large quantities of breeding pairs that they're willing to part with. But you're looking at paying between $30 and $60 an angelfish, depending on the quality. But you're going to get your pair right away. I enjoy these back here. The black one I raised, that's from my black lace. The koi I purchased, but when I purchased him, he was dime size.
Wow.
And I had him actually in that 55 over there. I had 20 fish, and as they paired off, I pulled them out. They were the last two to pair off. So, you know, it's kind of fun to do it that way because you know where the fish have come from, you've raised them, they're established to your water parameters, and it's more fun to do it that way, in my opinion.
Let them make the decision.
Right.
So if you've convinced your wife or if you've convinced your husband that spending this money on your angelfish setup was an investment, understand it's going to be a long time before you get a return on your investment. If you buy them nickel or dime size and you grow them up, you might be waiting a year before they do anything, but it's probably the safest way and the best way to get the best breeding pairs. If you need money right away, which you're not going to make a lot, so I don't know why you're doing this for the money, but if you need money right away to get a return on the investment, buy a breeding pair or buy them larger. You're going to pay more money for the fish, but you don't have to wait for them to make the decision naturally and be big enough to start breeding. So let's move on from that. Let's go on to another question that I've been asked so many times. I know you get asked it all the time, and that is determining sex in angels. I mean, I know I've had breeding pairs of angels that they naturally paired off. I watched them spawn, and I still couldn't tell you which one was the male and the female. So how do you do it? Is there a way to do it?
The best way is get a quarter and flip it in the air. Heads is male, tails is female. There are ways, you know, people measure from the dorsal fin to the tail fin to the, you know, there's all kinds of stuff. Nothing's 100%. Another way, if you look at this, I don't know how well they can see it, but if you look at this koi back here, you look at his head, there's a large predominant bump on his head. That's a male. If you are able to see the female, she doesn't have that. That's one way, but the downside to that is they need to be about that size before you can tell, and by that time it doesn't matter because they've already told you that they're male and female.
Right.
There's no exact science, or let me rephrase that. My intelligence level is not high enough to apply the exact science to tell. So
Then my intelligence level is not even close.
So it's best guess. It's best guess, but no way is 100% for sure.
But if they pair off naturally or however it happens, it's pretty obvious. I mean, they start to pick a little territory. They might start to clean off a little spawning site. It's pretty obvious that they've paired off. And so when they pair off, who cares which one's the male and the female? They're going to spawn, so you'll figure it out then, and you may still not figure it out. Now the last question, and this is a big one, is where to buy them. Do you go down to one of those big box stores that starts with a P? Where do you go to buy good quality fish?
Well, and this is not to knock the big box stores, but a lot of the big stores buy their fish from Malaysia farms, and they get theirs and they fly them from South America to Malaysia. They put them in farm, they raise them up, they fly them back. That's not to say I don't have some. I do have some. Matter of fact, I think that male right there came from one of the P stores. But the best way that I feel, and this is all opinion, but the best way that I feel is you buy them from somebody you know. Like, obviously you buy my angelfish, but I'm very comfortable with sending people to you because the water parameters are going to be what they're going to find in this area. The type of food, we know that the fish are healthy because you can look at them. Knock on wood, we've been very successful with our angelfish. So more your smaller local fish stores, because they're more like you, and the fish don't come in on Tuesday, get marked down on Friday, and out the door.
Right.
They're there. They're going to be taken care of. So another good way is if you have a friend that raises angelfish. You go to them, barter. I've bartered my angelfish. I'm getting glass tops for my 180 cut for some angelfish.
Gotta love that.
So there's a lot of ways to do it, but you want to know the strain. It's kind of like building a house or building anything. You start right, you finish right. If you get weak, sickly looking angelfish, and when I say sickly, that doesn't necessarily mean they're swimming on their sides or they're upside down. You can look at an angelfish. If you look at that angelfish, look how thick he is. He's a big, thick angelfish. Even as a baby, he was a thick angel. That's why I picked him. Be selective on your angels. When I sell an angelfish, it's got a good thickness to him. He's got a good height. When they swim with their fins erect. You know, if they've got their fins compressed, they're depressed. You know, it's a funny word to use for a fish, but they're depressed, or they're on the verge of getting sick. And you want to stay away from that, especially when you're building your foundation. You get a good foundation of healthy fish, you're going to have more fries to sell than you can sell. So
Faster return on your investment if you're doing this for the money, which you shouldn't be, but that's okay. So, but you know, using those guidelines that you talked about, you can find healthy angelfish at the big box stores. I mean, they do have them, but if they don't look healthy, if they look sickly, if they're laying on their side, if they're really skinny, missing fins, just stay away from them. It should be pretty much common sense, but you know, your mom and pop pet stores are usually going to be buying their fish from more reputable suppliers, and so
and they're more selective about the fish. They just don't take what's sent to them. So,
and then of course with the accessibility that we have on the internet, you can search online. There's people all over, just like me, that are selling them. So that would be a good place too. Now we're getting a little bit long here, so we're going to have to cut this off. But hopefully now you have a better understanding of selecting the right fish, and we can move on to get into some of the fun stuff. So thank you so much for watching. We're going to sit back in our Archie Bunker chairs here and relax for a little bit. Thank you so much to Dave. Say goodbye, Dave.
goodbye.
And we'll see you on the next episode.